Would you rather be skinny or alive? That is the question that we are asked in Season 3, Episode 3 of American Horror Stories. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. To my American Horror Story historians, thank you so much for joining me as we are venturing into Season 3 of one of, honestly, the surprises for me of this year. While I do like Delicate and what we're doing there, I really think American Horror Stories is onto something this season. We are going to be diving into one of the most deliciously twisted and honestly probably the best one I've seen yet. We are talking about Tapeworm. Ever since we found out what the episodes of American Horror Stories were going to be this season, I was always intrigued by Tapeworm. Not only was Lisa Rinna announced for it, who I think is I don't know, she's like a camp queen. I know her from Days of Our Lives, but I also know she's a Real Housewife. Honestly, she serves face and she gives me bitchiness. That's what she gave me in this episode, and that's what this whole episode was serving. It is a harsh look at the modeling industry, which is always being looked at and dissected. So this isn't like a groundbreaking concept. Either is the tapeworm. I feel like it's an inspired choice, but it's not something I found completely shocking that this was happening. I thought honestly the Ozempic shade was the biggest thing I saw throughout this. That's what really got me going, and I liked the conversations that were started here. But what really sold this episode was the last 5 minutes. What a finale. It gave me a little bit of David Cronenberg. It threw me back. I actually think our lead actress, Lauren Kariuki, I think her name is, slay. Queen, icon, legend. She gave me so much as our character, like Vivian. I liked Vivian. I loved hating her when when the tapeworm started to take her over a little bit, but I actually really liked this actress and what she delivered with this character and what they were trying to say, what they were trying to do. I think Lisa Rinna's Sheila Klein was a perfectly fit character. She feels like she would be friends with Shaban from American Horror Story Delicate. They feel like they're in the same universe. This also gave me some sort of like coven vibe for some reason. Not exactly witchy, but there was something that felt haunted in the way they were looking at girls especially. And then when the doctor came in with what seemed to be something almost magical and otherworldly, especially when we got the serum at the end, there was definitely very something like traditional, cultural medicine that I thought was very interesting there. But there was something almost otherworldly with this tapeworm. Then it looked like a damn xenomorph, like what was the face hugger. It looked like that at times. This was so all over the place, and I mean that in a good way, though I will say I found it pretty predictable. I was like, oh, this, even though the ending was fun and filmed well and felt pure old school horror, it did feel like, oh, we're going to Heather as well. So I liked what this presented. I think it's probably the best one because it's the most streamlined, the most well thought out, but I still think Bestie was pretty hard to swallow, no pun intended. It to me was the most impactful. This feels like well-worn territory by now. Same thing that, the AI stuff that was in Daphne feels like we've been there, done that a little bit. But this one, this still is very strong, very well made, like had a good beginning, middle, and end. This is how you use a short format. Tell me a complete story. Don't make it feel rushed though. It definitely went its journey. I didn't feel like the end came too soon or it was dragging on at all. It was a perfectly well edited, well timed, well thought out episode, and honestly, if American Horror Stories was always like this would probably be a far more popular show. As the episode begins, a beautiful model walks into Sheila Klein's modeling agency. This woman could get you booked onto the cover of Vogue if you really want that. And that's what our character, Vivian, that's what she's dreamed of. She is fresh off the boat, like, I'm from Iowa and I'm here to make my dreams come true. And it's like, oh, you knew she was going to get twisted, manipulated, and worked through. She gets into this casting call and it's filled with girls, but she meets this girl Heather. They start bonding. There's a relationship being formed here. Think of like the first couple minutes of Showgirls when Nomi meets her roommate kind of vibe. It's like, oh, these girls are going to be together until something very bad happens. Something bad very happens. But yeah, Sheila is kind of like hungry for somebody new, someone fresh. She meets Vivian and Sheila's like, great, you look amazing. You have star quality. You're too fat. This shatters Vivian. This makes her feel like, I'm not going to say that anything Sheila says was wrong or was right, but I do believe that Vivian should have been prepared for this. This is what happens when you are fresh off the boat and believe that you're going to hear yeses, that you're going to hear positivity, especially from the modeling industry. As I've been inside the film industry, as I've worked as a critic, you understand that there's going to be a lot of no's and there's going to be a lot of mean no's. Vivian should have been prepared, but she wasn't. This sends her on a path to lose some weight. She's worked out, she's done the diet, and none of that's working. So they send her to a doctor to get modified. I believe that's what this new thing is. If you know anything about celebrities in real life right now, anything of just general world, Ozempic is like the big thing right now. You're taking it, it's a shot, you lose some weight. I think it makes y'all look a little drawn out, a little gaunt. If you need it, you need it. I'm not saying anyone who's on Ozempic who needs it, but if you're using it for weight loss, we can tell. You look Ozempic-fied, like you do look, modified here. So yeah, Vivian tries her journey. She's doing it. She thinks this is exactly her thing, but she's not losing enough weight. The doctor presents Vivian with a question. Would you rather be skinny or alive? When Vivian does not give him the answer he expects, he still somehow sends her down the path of the tapeworm and says, hey, what's up? You want to take this little thing? You got to follow these very simple rules. The girl already lied to you about scoliosis. She already lied to you about other like heart murmur stuff. You really thought she was going to do well here? Vivian does not listen to his instructions. He says, feed this thing in moderation. You're going to take this tapeworm. It's going to eat a little bit of your food. That's fine. Keep your food as it should be. It will grow as it should grow, and then we can remove it over time. Great. Instantly, Vivian says, no, nay, I'm going to eat. And I mean, we're watching scenes of binging. This is a very trigger warning episode. I will definitely say we're watching a lot of things deal with body image, dealing with binging. There's some purging as well, but in other scenes, it's harsh. This episode is definitely very real, and we're watching Vivian kind of fall into the trap of this thing by not listening to the doctor, by listening to the tapeworm inside of her. She thinks it's just gonna, fine, I'll just eat and it's just gonna keep working. She's, still eating, but losing weight, but going higher in the industry. So she's getting such warped perception. But what is apparent to everyone, Vivian's personality is changing immensely. She is getting eviler and bitchier and mean. God, the stuff that she says to Sheila, and Sheila's like, I get it. But I don't get it. And then, the way she handles her friend Heather, who they're roommates, and they're bonding, they're connecting, but she's gone too far. She's making the house a mess by eating too much. Heather's like, I'm gonna go. She has this prized thing. She's doing well as like a photographer. She has this camera that her mom gave her. Vivian breaks it. Vivian says no. It's just the tapeworm, and she feels this monster pulling her away, but no one's listening to her. She says, I have a tapeworm. When she asked Heather, you have a tapeworm too? And Heather's like, that's not what we're talking about. But I'm like, honestly, if you would have listened, she's trying to tell you what's going on. It would have saved two people's probably lives right there. But she is trying and trying. She ends up going to the doctor, and he gives her a solution. And what the hell is this ending? What do y'all think? Oh my goodness. The end of the episode sees, to me, one of my funniest, kind of cringiest, grossest moments I've seen from American Horror Story. The doctor says, I will give you the serum. You need to go into the bathroom. You should just be able to pull it out. If you fed it how I told you, it should be about a foot long. First off, that's normal? A tapeworm? A foot long? Out of your booty? I cannot. But we know she has not been feeding it in moderation. She ends up going to the bathtub. He said go in the toilet. She said, babe, I'm going on the tub. Vivian begins to give butt birth to a tapeworm baby. And when it came out, opened its little mouth. And I said, what in the xenomorph? Get this alien shit out of here. It was cringe, it was gross, but it was honestly kind of perfect. We're watching this thing happen and she thinks it's done. Nope, it murders her. And I'm like, wow, that's a crazy ending. This isn't the end of the episode? Heather's here. And in a pure classic horror movie, body horror, Cronenberg jump scare, the thing is behind her, attacks Heather, goes inside of Heather's mouth. Now the tapeworm has a new host. This host, nobody knows the tapeworm's in there, so no one can clock it. No one's going to try to get it out. She's just going to live in this evil tapeworm life. Oh, I wish during the marketing we saw that really skinny, creepy model lady. I wish we could have seen, Heather kind of keep deteriorating, or even Vivian's character, not even switching to the Heather in that last minute. Just watching Vivian just grossly skinny. Oh, that could have been a great ending, but I thought this was a fun kind of every episode of American Horror Stories. It's always a wow, that's a dark, depressing episode. This is another sad kind of wow, no one good wins in American Horror Stories. Even though I do think American Horror Story proper, good usually triumphs over evil in its own twisted way. But here in these ones, it's another dark ending. But I kind of thought this was the most like, well, at least it's not the whole world ending. Lisa, this tapeworm's only going to go to her unless there's more tapeworms out there. Is the whole modeling industry, is that why Naomi Campbell threw phones? Oh, so much tapeworm lore in the supermodel world. Ooh. Well, that is it for my review of Tapeworm, the latest episode of American Horror Stories that I'm reviewing for you all. As part of this Halloween event, it has been really fun, but I had to double up episodes on this Friday. We are nearing the holiday season. I want to go dress up as my Halloween costume. Maybe I'll see it in a video soon. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. We shall see. But I had to get this out. I had to talk about Tapeworm with you. This to me is the most anticipated, the most talked about, the most kind of big one in the AHS fandom. What did you all think of this episode? What did you think of this review? Share your feelings down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel. I plan on reviewing Nip Tuck. We got Boulet Brothers Dragula. We got the Delicate Condition book review. There are things coming up this holiday season. Make sure you stay tuned. I also am going to kind of look at this season of Chucky and give it an overall season review. There are things coming. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Subscribe to my other channel, Flickering Myth. I got interviews and things there. My goodness, there's so much stuff, so much EJ to be watching. Make sure you're watching, subscribe, all that jazz. I love you guys. You are amazing. Thank you so much. And comment down below.